Okay.
Okay, so
We're back.
yeah.
Part 2.
The subject of minerals. What about phasing that into like prenatal vitamins? Like, what do you think about prenatal supplementation?
Prenatal vitamins, a lot of times are just little, laboratory type compounds. What I do is I go to nature.
Yeah.
So the laboratory, the laboratory vitamins and minerals, they may have some benefit. Sometimes they're hard to digest, and at best you get some of the nutrition. At worst, they leave behind massive amounts of metabolic residue because they're not in nature's synergy or natural consciousness.
Right.
Isolated a little bit from here, from this plant, from Asia, a little bit over here from cow bone,
Right.
a little bit here from shark, a little bit over here from dirt, and then you got all this little stuff, and you're like, okay, that's cool, but it doesn't have that natural consciousness like something like the Shilajit, which I've been falling in love with, the humic and fulvic acids, which are just old decomposed.
Yeah.
Plant-based, and a lot of times they're just mined from the earth.
Okay.
So they're decomposed plants. So you might want to look into that, humic and fulvic acid, and find out, because that's one of my favorites right now.
There's a liquid one, I think was in one of your videos that I have. The humic liquid, like brown
Did you
liquid.
see the mineral video?
Yeah.
Okay, cool,
And
good.
I live in Korea, so there's not much I can get from here, but iHerb ships to Korea. So whatever I can get on iHerb, I can order.
On where?
iHerb.
Oh, okay, good, yeah. You may be able to get that there, the Vital Earth. That's a good one.
That's the one that.
And there's several other companies. You just do research, and there's a couple other companies I want to look into and order their stuff and try it out and learn more about it. There's this one guy who's got a company, and he's like the original OG of the humic and fulvic that's been doing it for like 40 years, so I need to check him out and see what he's got. But just getting yourself savvy to those ideas that there are these types of products out there. Like I said, if your grandma is throwing the wood ash into the garden and you're eating cabbage and carrots and beets and corn and peas and beans in that incredibly rich soil, then maybe you don't need the mineral supplementation. But it's an unlikelihood for most of us
Right.
to get that. And so I don't think there's anything wrong with a little shot to right there.
Yeah.
It's like it's probably a $1 shot, $1 an ounce or less, to just shoot that back. And if you read the ingredients, it's all plant-based, ancient plant minerals from a different era, and then it's all there. And then you've got the possibility of, all the bases covered. Because the minerals is probably the biggest thing that as I'm doing more research, I'm just into it a lot right now. There'll be something else coming in the future once I've got this thing solidified. It's like, duh. We all know, you get the vitamins and minerals from your fruits and vegetables. But then you start looking and you start going, wait a minute here. You know that the fruit can produce vitamins and the vegetables can produce essential fats. There's one thing that they cannot produce, and if the minerals are not in the soil, then they will not go through the roots, through the apple tree and into the apple.
Right.
The apple cannot make minerals. It can make a lot of other things that you need. Now, we know that, the vitamins will work, or the minerals will work without the vitamins. But the vitamins won't work without the minerals. The enzymes won't work without the minerals. They have to be there as little spark plugs of information, little connectors, little messengers almost that activate.
Is there a way to get tested to see how deficient you are?
Yeah, you can get hair tests, blood tests, a lot of different things.
Okay.
For me, I go really intuitive. I'm just like, because I'm like, okay, what happened here? Because I was struggling for many years to be 100% raw. And it was always a struggle. It was a mental. I had to struggle really hard to stay 98% raw. I know it sounds kind of crazy, but it was like, okay, I could do it, but then I'd just, I'd be out on the road or whatever trying to stay on the fruit and vegetables, and I had to have to go to like Sizzler and order like 4 baked potatoes, put a bunch of avocados on there and sea salt.
You're
and
craving something naturally,
right.
yeah.
and I was trying to not be on salt, and I was trying to not be on fat, and I was just trying to stay on the fruit. And I'm traveling across the country stressed out because the stress, that's another reason why you eliminate stress, because the stress just sucks the minerals right out of you. See what I mean? So the more relaxed we are when we're trying to heal up the cancer or the diabetes or any of these diseases, or we're trying to create a healthy human, it's like we gotta chill. And in order to heal, we gotta chill. We gotta relax.
Right.
We gotta get somewhere safe. We gotta like eliminate stuff so there's not too many bills. We gotta simplify so that we can eliminate as much stress, because it's the stress which just sucks the minerals right out of our bones,
Right.
literally. Just like a baby will just, if you're not supplementing with the proper minerals, the baby will just suck the minerals right out of your bones. And each child, progressively, you'll just
Right.
get more and more depleted, and then you're not, that's why so many women get a hold of me about this.
Load up.
Yeah, it's only just a little bit, but nutrient density, I'm not saying the fruits and vegetables is not where it's at, because you're
Right.
gonna get a lot of great, very easily absorbable vitamins and minerals and essential fats from plant-based foods. I'm just saying that right now, what I'm seeing is, if Congress said in 1975 that 95% of all Americans are vitamin and mineral deficient, I'm thinking 30 some odd years later, that, 40 years later now, or whatever.
Soil is not better.
No, it's not better. There's more monocrops, faster production, and less love going into the soil. These huge conglomerate farms that are just growing one thing,
Right.
And so it's just, we're not doing a lot of biodiversity, biodynamic type gardening.
Right.
And so just to help people, what I see every day, situations like this where you're just curious, you're healthy but you want to learn about this stuff, or most of the people that I work with are suffering from illnesses, and they're like, I'm doing really well with the diet, I'm just not seeing anything take place. For myself, my friend came, and he's a really astute young man, and he helped me, and I just started taking the Shilajit, and I was like, something is different about me. And from that point on, from the day that I took that Shilajit,
Yeah.
and I only look back in hindsight, but now that I've like, what was it? Was it the fats? It was the essential fats, bringing those back into my diet and saying, fat is good, and letting that light bulb go on in my head. And then the Shilajit, which I think was probably the most profound, because of course I'm getting good food, good fruits and vegetables, but I don't think, even with the amount of juice and raw foods that I was eating, was I getting the full spectrum. And if there's holes in the web, there's a lack of conductivity and synergy, and they're trying to, it's not able to,
Right.
it's only, there's shortages in the pathways of the electricity, there's shortages in the enzymes and the metabolic precursors, so if you're not getting everything you need, you're sort of doing okay. But if you really want to light up, and if you want to be like that light bulb in the water, if you've ever seen that little experiment, the minerals light up the light bulb and the sugars do not. So if we want, the best thing to do would be to have, the best diet would be mineral rich, tree ripened fruits full of seeds. You see, because then we would get the glucose, we would get the fiber, we would get the water, we would get the essential fats, we would get the antioxidants, we would get the ease of digestibility. So fruit still is the best food for mankind. It's just that it's picked early, it's shipped, it loses a lot of its, you know what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
So there's just so many things that we need to start thinking about in order to really succeed at this. So that we can have health in the modern world. If you're not creating health, you're dying in this world. If you're not actively engaged in detoxing, energizing, then you are going to be, falling apart, because it's just the stress and the radio waves and the toxins are just everywhere.
Right.
Okay, so we handled that pretty well. Shilajit, humic and fulvic acids. A little bit each day goes a long way. Then you eat your regular, as much raw food as you can. Fruits and vegetables, soaked nuts and seeds.
Yeah.
and then, you know, you've got your life and your private business, and it's nobody's, you know, business to say anything about who's vegan or what, because there's a lot more to all this, and people, you can't just get mad at your grandma for eating a pork chop, man. You know, you don't slap a baby for drinking cow's milk, you know what I mean?
Right.
So we all have to be, it's a very sensitive subject around here, and I don't believe
do your
it.
best.
That's
yeah.
right, that's what I mean. And so, what is next?
Okay, what can my partner do?
All right, same thing.
The men's side. Like
Same thing.
thing.
With the men, you know, this is just intuitive. With the women, I'd go more yang,
Yeah.
essential fats and fruits and vegetables. With the men, I'd probably go a little bit higher on the nuts and seeds pre-conception.
Okay.
Also, I would recommend that he preserve his vital fluid
Okay.
as much as possible and build that vital fluid. Pumpkin seeds being one of the best, royal jelly and bee pollen. Also just building that yang, that ohas, that just he wants to have a good, you know,
Yeah.
and he wants it to be powerful. So the preserving it as
Right.
much as possible, building it. I don't know if he practices Tai Chi or yoga or what his meditation practices, but building that energy and purifying it so that when it does come forth, it is powerful. And so the raw food diet, again, enzyme rich, mineral rich, high water, pure, a pure, you know, vehicle. He wants to purify himself with the fire of life, just like you do. So that's what it is. It's like the fire of God within us. And we let go of more of our attachments, and we rely more on faith, and we allow that really intelligent energy to come through us. So we sort of take everything, like you said in Korea, it's like memorize, memorize, memorize. We take all that memorization and belief systems, and we try to set them aside and be more an observer, so our shoulders drop, our chi flows, you know, more. When we have these hardened belief systems, then that the chi doesn't flow. You're like, nope, I have to resist that because it goes against my beliefs, instead of being just a witness to it. Oh, that's a very interesting way for that person to be, or for that person's diet, or whatever they're doing, allowing more energy. But like I said, the most important thing on the linear level would be just a fairly substantial amount more of things like pumpkin seeds, sunflower seeds, almonds, and avocados.
Okay.
For more fats and more minerals and more. See, the fruit, the meat of the fruit is yin, and the seeds are more yang. So in order to really, obviously he is playing the role of the yang and you're playing the role of the yin. We are more androgynous than most people want to realize, but we come here, you're the woman, he's the man, and you go, okay, you know, because it's pretty obvious that you were born with certain things that make that propensity a reality. So he wants to move over more towards the yang, like a warrior, you know, a warrior of childbearing, to make the greatest. And so he is perfecting and purifying his own DNA.
Right, that's what I'm very concerned about, is like how to make, you know, your DNA as clean as possible, or what are the things
Right, expressing the best possible genes through epigenetic expression, right. I think raw foods is really, really huge part of that. The foods that are high heated and deranged, the information, I think, can affect the expression of the DNA, as well as thoughts. We can never forget about that, how thoughts affect expression of the DNA as well as emotions. So hopefully he's a very emotionally stable person, very loving, right? Good. And then a nice, clean, non-judgmental, peaceful mind.
He's the most easygoing guy I know, and to be Korean and also that really easygoing, open-minded, creative is a really big blessing for me. So
I think you'll be, that's already tells me a lot.
I'm the uptight one, you know, I'm the stressed one in comparison,
So you may want to adopt some of that easygoingness, particularly focusing on it. But now, see, that's the time. Like, what do you do for prenatal or preconception nutrition? Well, first of all, number one, just master the art of letting go, relaxing, being. So as you move through the process of carrying a child, you are just able to chill. So you're practicing that now, that letting go of, you see it, you're like this, you're at the office or you're about to go on your show and you're just like this, and that manager, God, why did he say that? I wish I didn't have to wear my hair like this or whatever, and you're just, or this stupid hat, right? Is that right on? But you can just go, oh, it's cool, it's all good, it's just hair, it's just another day. You start practicing the art of non-attachment, letting go, again, so that energy is just always flowing. And I wouldn't say this to you if I didn't do this in my very own life.
Right.
So it's like, what's good for your prenatal or preconception nutrition is good for Dan the man who's just trying to regenerate his own life and reach his potential. Right. We're constantly wanting to allow that potential to arise within us by not resisting anything that's within the present moment. Mm-hmm. So then that's when we start to get into the more expanded spiritual. Now, it sounds real pretty when I say it here on the video, but then in real life, we all got work to do when it comes to that. But understanding it helps us to, because we do grow. We grow with our relationship or whatever, and we let go a little bit more of the need to control that person or control what they eat or, anything like that. And just, you let everybody and everything just be as it is so that you don't get twisted up in knots. Because if you get twisted up in knots, the baby gets twisted up in knots in their DNA.
Yeah.
See what I mean?
I know people that are like stressed and they have stressed babies. It's sort of it's very the same.
It is. That's exactly what I'm saying. I mean, that baby becomes what you are now.
Right.
Like what you're doing now is already creating a trajectory, you see? It's not like, okay, you get the little pregnancy test and then you're like, okay, now we start.
Yeah.
No, you start right now. See what I mean? Creating an energy pattern within your electromagnetic energy field through whatever you want to do, whether it's walking barefoot on the earth, eating raw foods, getting more massages, detoxifying your body, singing, playing, creativity. So you're really opening up as many potentials within you as possible and releasing as many of the knots within your electromagnetic energy field so that you are an electrical being. And one of the things that's why the minerals are so good, because it kind of does that automatically for us. We get the minerals through the diet, and then we can bring in music or singing or artwork, and it allows more of that energy to conduct through the energy meridians in the body, and you can just become very magic and very light on your feet, and a lot of love is flowing through you, and of course then that just simply affects the expression of the DNA, and that child will be like, they'll be like, that is the most chill baby I've ever seen. It's just like sitting there going, what's up, y'all? It's like 1 year old, and it's like, and the other 3 babies over here at the nursery are just crying and snot running out of their nose, and their mom's like smoking a cigarette and stuff. I'm like, oh, this, irritated with the baby, and you're just chilling because you set it up right.
Right.
You did it in a way that was very well thought out,
Really good.
Sound good?
Yeah, it sounds good.
Makes a lot of sense, huh?
It's totally makes sense, absolutely.
What's next?
What's next? Okay, so when you're pregnant, daily juicing. What's your nutrition timeline? Any things that you really recommend for when you're pregnant?
I would say any time during this lifetime, if you're on planet Earth right now, the daily juicing habit is a knockout home run.
Specific fruits, vegetables, and herbs.
Well, the one thing that I want to mention, which I've mentioned a million times before, but I'm just happy about the fennel herb.
Okay.
That is keeps the nice flow of the milk. Parsley dries it up.
Okay.
Parsley will dry up the milk, and fennel will keep it flowing.
Right. And this is during 9 months. You would do fennel.
Well, it can't hurt.
Right.
Fennel is an amazing plant with amazing oils and amazing properties to keep the body fluids just very clean. and there's detoxifying and antioxidant properties in there, as well as blood freshening effects. So the fennel is something that you can just drink anytime, all the time, but particularly during prenatal and during the time that the child is in utero, and then onward, as long as you're milking. And then as soon as if you ever do need to dry up, the herbalists will use the parsley, but you can use a little parsley because it is very good and very nutritious. There's something else that just popped into my head. Alfalfa powder is an amazing plant.
In powder form?
Yeah, it's a dehydrated grass, and the beauty of the alfalfa, again, is it's got the chlorophyll, but the root system goes way down. And so it can get at more of the minerals that might be lower down in the soil. Same thing with the hemp plant. And then other plants have very shallow root systems, so they don't have that ability as much.
My grandmother always used to feed alfalfa to her goats. So that was like their main source of nutrition.
Healthy goats. And so I would recommend definitely the daily juicing habit. Today, that's going to be, because that's just pure blood building nutrition all the time, and that helps to keep the DNA in good shape with these amazing plant food elements that are the essential oils and the fiber and the antioxidants and the polyphenols and the 10,000 other things science hasn't even come upon. It's like frequency. It's like plants just are alive. And you eat those plants, and they sacrifice their life for your life. Fruits are the least karmically dense foods. So, rely on fruits as much as you can, because there's a beauty. Fruit makes you cute. It really does. And it'll make the baby just plump and round and beautiful and colorful, rainbow colors, blueberries and raspberries and blackberries and watermelons and lemons and grapes and apples and bananas and dates and cherimoyas and papayas, you know what I mean? And those fruit sugars and those fruit fibers and all those antioxidants just make a nice, soft baby. And that's what you want, a nice, soft, mellow, calm, yet energized baby. So fruit would be my number one, and then number two focus would be the leafy green juices, and then I'd make sure I was getting plenty of essential fats from hemp and coconut and avocado, and chia and flax and sunflower seeds and almonds, and the very moderate amounts. You don't need a lot of nuts and seeds. Very small amount, a couple times a week. In the form of nut milks or in a nut dressing. Just to, in utero or prenatal or preconception nutrition and in life, it's just a nice, well-rounded, a simple diet. You don't want to mix. The more simple you can eat, like a lettuce with a sunflower and lime juice, 3 ingredients or something, just the more simple you can eat, but with a nice variety year round, in season as much as you can, but a well-rounded and balanced diet. I know we've heard that before. It almost sounds cliche. It almost sounds like an excuse for what's your plan. It's like, well, it just depends. When I go to the farmer's market and I see the guy down there and he says, and I say, when were these walnuts picked? And he goes, well, I just picked those, a few days ago. And I'm like, well, duh. I'm not going to eat the walnuts that are 6 months old at the store. I'm going to go down to the farmer's market and I see them fresh, local, right off the tree. I'm going to eat those for a couple weeks, and then that's that. You know what I mean? And then when carrots are in season, which, well, that's not the best example, but let's say, cucumbers go in this huge wave of they're there for 3 months. You slam the cucumbers, tomatoes come, and they're ripe. And then now this time of year you eat a tomato and it's but in the summer, when they're popping off, that's when you eat those. So when you're thinking about having children, especially a nice, well-balanced diet with a lot of different foods. But in moderation, and just real nice, simple meals, but basically saying not eating the same thing every day.
That's where you get some deficiency, I think, when you're eating
Yeah.
the same thing 'cause something might be missing.
Well, that's why the women, they crave, the pregnant women, you're like, honey, what are you doing? I'm eating dirt, shut up, you know? You're like, whoa, you're eating dirt, honey, that's weird, you
There's
know?
minerals in the dirt.
Right, that's the thing, I mean, or the pickles and the ice cream, and they get all these wacko cravings, but you'll see, if you supplement with the mineral supplementation, then you're not gonna have any of that craziness. You'll see it.
Right. Thoughts on morning sickness and avoiding that? Maybe eating this way you won't have as much morning sickness, but any other thoughts on
The
that?
cleaner that you are in your diet, the less morning sickness you'll have.
Yeah.
It's sort of similar to the period, you know?
Yeah.
And so the cleaner that you are, the less the body needs to eject to protect the baby.
Right.
And it'll be very minimized. So like if you're starting now and you wanna, you know, just keep it real clean, simple, like fruit, the cleanest. Vegetables, the second cleanest, you know? Then you got the nuts and seeds, but then you've got like, the processed food is not clean. It just isn't.
Right.
There's weird stuff in there, and every level has its processing. I mean, Doritos are going to be a little bit different than the Lay's with just oil and salt. But the Doritos got the MSG, the colorants, and so you want to move away from all that and get into like to where you go to the produce section and the nuts and seeds section, and then you get out of there. And yeah, I'm saying like I will get some Brazil nuts in a box. You know what I'm saying? From Essential Living Foods or something. But for the most part, everything that goes into my cart is not in a box or a can or anything like that. It's just I go there, I get a watermelon, I put it in the cart. I go there, I get some lemons, I get some avocados, I get some lettuce. You know, there might be the plastic packaging for the lettuce mixes and things like that, but it's all wholesome food.
Yeah.
You know, and that's where you're going to get clean. And even the cleanest of clean foods leave metabolic waste behind.
Right.
So the cleaner that you can eat, you want to eat clean, but you want to have nutrient density, obviously, especially during the time that you're creating a child in you. A human being could get away with a lot less if the food was nutrient dense, if there were lower stress levels, if the oxygen was cleaner, if the water was purer. You see?
Right.
If. So we're just doing the best we can to follow these laws of nature, but also to be realistic about the condition of this world. You have to be living in this world. You can't say, well, fruit is our food and that's all there is to it and we don't need anything else, because you're not looking at the modern conditions that are taking place. And so you're living in some kind of utopian la-la land and not looking at the reality of the way things are being produced and the conditions that we're living in. So that's why I'm glad you came, because I have this real balanced, sane, well-grounded approach that can be utilized.
Yeah.
But yet it's very high level too. It's like you said, the doctor, just take folic acid and vaccines.
Right.
And that's the highest up you can get now.
Vitamin D. Like they look at your blood, and that's the one thing I need more is vitamin D. Okay.
So
Go outside.
how's the sun in Korea? Yeah, go outside.
It's freezing cold right now, so it's a little difficult to go outside.
I need to go outside myself. We've got just like 1 minute left on this one.
Okay, so sum up of during pregnancy, top things to do, top things to avoid, I guess.
Avoid stress, avoid processed foods as much as possible, avoid low quality foods, low quality environments, people smoking, bye-bye, you know, stress, loud crazy music, you know, judgmental, critical energy fields. Go home.
For sure.
So let's do the pros, like as much raw living food as you can, fruits, vegetables, nuts and seeds, highly activated, mineral supplementation, foot massages, a lot of time in solitude, making sure that you're, you know, reading good books. Whatever you want to program that child with, that's what you read. If you want your child to be an engineer, read engineering books. If you want your child to be an avatar, read all the spiritual books. And read the spiritual books anyways, but then if you want it to be a mathematician, you read math. I know it sounds crazy, but trust me, it's true. So just fresh food and good, healthy, wholesome environments, music, art, beauty, poetry, good, wholesome beauty. Expose yourself to beauty and good food, and you'll be good to go. So it looks like we're running out of time. So that was a pretty good interview there. We'll continue on over there on the couch. But if you want to subscribe to these videos, that would be great. If you want to give this video a thumbs up, I would appreciate that. And thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate it. I had a good time. Thank you, Sarah.
Yeah.
Very good job.
Thank you.
And I'll talk to you soon. Peace.